I'm going to share a few quotes to warm up this subject of mystery and magic. The world is full of magical things, patiently waiting for our senses to grow sharper. That's a quote by the poet Yeats from the UK. The most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion that stands at the cradle of true art and true science. This is a physicist, Max Planck. Finally, Neil Armstrong, astronaut, mystery creates wonder, and wonder is the basis of a man's desire to understand. So in a way, we could add meaning to this, mystery, magic, and meaning. And this is one of the areas that people are needing in life, is sense of meaning. So looking forward to how this develops this evening, and handing over now to Palmer. Thank you.
Om Shanti. Greetings of love and peace, and welcome to this amazing presentation. And for those who don't know, Sarah Fitzgerald is also from Cambridge. She is a teacher and she is a spiritual teacher, so she has a double role. And I am really honored and with great joy to welcome Dr. Prashant Kokadai. He is, I think, such a deep thinker, and you will feel through his presentation, through every word, and through his ablation, the healing energy of his thoughts. Born in India and presently based in Cambridge, Dr. Prashant has a background in ENT surgery and integrated health. For the past 30 years, he has involved himself in the understanding, practicing, and teaching the spiritual and holistic principles of life and of health. He has authored a few books, and his views on health, entitled The Concept of Total Health, were presented to various medical institutions, including the World Health Organization. But his main interests are in field of psyche, in field of emotions, behavior, and health. He has organized and coordinated, along with others, several retreats for scientists titled Science and Spirituality within UK, Greece, and USA. He himself is a student and teacher of meditation with Brahma Kumari's Spiritual University. He feels that present-day society is conditioned into limitations and that a fundamental shift is necessary for this civilization to survive. His ideas on consciousness and health have led him to being invited to speak in more than 80 countries worldwide. He has spoken at various universities, medical schools, and organizations, including the United Nations in Geneva. He presently coordinates the Inner Space and the Center of Integral Healing in Cambridge, UK. I have attended several workshops and talks given by Dr. Prashant. And what really struck me in all this sharing, that he makes spiritual wisdom and spiritual knowledge simplified and accessible to everyone. And he is an embodiment of calmness, an embodiment of kindness. And I hope that all of you will get the main message, the importance of going beyond. I am full of joy and honored to welcome Dr. Prashant and invite you to help me welcoming him to Vancouver.
Thank you, Palma, for very flattering introduction, and thank you to all of you for the honor of speaking to this gathering, both in person and online. Also very happy with the very special subject, mystery and magic. We all want magic in our lives. and life is with the mystery. But we are going to see this subject today from the angle of science, not just the understanding of this phenomena, but how scientists are seeing this world. So we will be going to the PowerPoint very soon. And how do I come to that screen? Yes. So this itself is a nice, the technology is working. That itself is a little magic for us. So here are some institutions, science institutions, and I have written the websites of this scientific medical network. It is a gathering of academics from the science and medical background who are interested in a subject beyond the limits of science. Like, for example, if someone can do the magic, physically do the magic, mainline science will say impossible, that doesn't happen. And they don't want to know more about this. Whereas these scientists would like to study this, what is happening, by using a science methodology. But there are many areas in our lives which mainline science has no explanation. But these scientists are interested to know what exactly is going on there. It may be something that is not serious, but they want to know, and they have a science method to study this. So this is one institution, medical network, and then psychical research, and they have got magazines, regular publications, they have published books, and they are very interesting to read because you get an insight into the subject of mysteries of this world from the angle of science. For example, they may be studying out-of-body experiences. May I ask here, anyone here had any time you personally out-of-body experience? If you can raise your hands. Any time in your life, anyone had out-of-body experience? Usually, the hands go up. In Canada, there may be less of out-of-body experiences. But they say 6% of the population of this planet have out-of-body experiences, which is quite a big number. And we are talking about millions of people. And these people tell of their experience of being separate from the body. They didn't choose to, but they find themselves in a situation where they are looking at the body from outside. And there is a study. There are people who are having interest to study this. they meet people who have this out-of-body experiences, go into the details. And if you go into the website, you will come across out-of-body experience, sometimes just called OBE. And connected with this is another phenomena called near-death experience. And again, you will get hundreds and thousands of cases where people have seen themselves separate from the body. Understand, no? And mainline science, they will say there is some, imagination, someone is unconscious, he thought, there is less oxygen going to the brain and started believing that he is out of the body. So they ignore it. They got some explanation. One cardiologist in USA, he was having a patient, some cardiac arrest, and when he recovered, the patient recovered, he started telling his experience. He said, I was watching what you are doing. I was watching it from outside, and I was really not unconscious. I knew everything. He was telling some things, and his cardiologist was ignoring what he was saying because it is just an imagination. But then at one point, this patient said, I then left the hospital. I went above the hospital. I went above the roof of the hospital. And I was able to see the roof from beyond. And I saw a blue shoe on the roof of the hospital. And no one can go to the roof. There are no stairs to go to that roof. So he said, I saw the roof of the hospital and I saw a blue shoe at that end of the roof. So the cardiologist got a little bit curious. This is like a big statement to say, it is not just imagination, there may be something more here. But he informed the television people that such is the case. You come and find out, if there is send your cameraman, and if there is a shoe or not, you find out, you examine this patient, talk to this patient, and it's a good case, good story. So they sent the cameraman, they went to the roof, and if you go to the YouTube, you will see those cameramen finding a blue shoe on the roof of that hospital. The name of the cardiologist was, what is the name of the cardiologist? And who knows the cardiologist? Say it again. No. Yeah. So we will find out. Then, but you will. This is the story of this patient. There are many cardiologists who have got different experiences with these similar patients, similar type. The next case that is shown here is apparitions. Apparition is a state where you are able to see often a deceased person. In a person who has passed away, who has died, you are able to see him. Some people might call it a ghost. But in this case, they don't see anything bad in this. They just see a visual image of that person. And that the person, usually they say it is emotionless and lifeless. That is the way they appear to the person. So if there's someone walking past, emotionless, lifeless, they see the image of the person. But sometimes if there is a group of people, 4 or 5 people, they all see, sometimes just one person sees. Not all 5 people see. That is also another situation there. So they don't know how to understand this. They see the emotionless, lifeless image of the person, often the diseased. But it can also happen to the person who is alive, but he's in another place, another city, another country, and you see that person in another place. That is like an apparition. It is not bad, it is not evil, it is not a ghost, it is a visual image. And they study this. They create a magnetic field, they have different kinds of cameras, ultrasound, infrared, different ways they are studying this case and understand this phenomena, apparition. What they find, one thing they say, if you got this instant print cameras, those cameras can detect more than even infrared. Polaroid cameras can detect more than infrared or ultrasound cameras. And what they also see, cameras don't pick up the visual appearance of the person. And the person says, I saw so-and-so, they usually know the person. I saw Mr. Smith walking past there. Mr. Smith has died. But if they use the camera to take a photograph, they see a column of light. They don't see the visual details, just a column. But in the camera, you don't expect suddenly a column of light somewhere. And sometimes if someone says, you take a Polaroid or digital cameras, and if you see the column of light, you may have to find out a little bit more about it. There may be something going on there. Telepathy, this is another phenomena that is seen in the world, communication between human to human, human to animal, animal to human. This is very well known and established. You might even see here, in your personal experience, you might be asleep even, and someone sends a text to you. There is no notification, no sound. Someone sends a text, and you might wake up even at that exact time. And if you check your mobile, there was a text sent. And many have this experience. What is happening? It is just the thought. Someone is thinking of you, and the message is reaching you. You pick up. During the daytime, suddenly you might think of someone, but if you are asleep and if you wake up, it means there is a communication. You're woken up. Anyone has this experience? You wake up, and someone has been thinking of you, sometimes for very strong reason, and you wake up. Some close relations, someone is born in the same family, they may have more of this connection going on. But in studies, it is seen that it is going on everywhere. Telepathic communication is there in everyone. We may be able to trust it more and rely upon it, encourage it. We might deny it and refuse to accept it, but not build on it. One family I know in Cambridge, and they have a dog, and the husband was in another country. This was during the war time, Kuwait war, Iraq war. And the husband works for the foreign office, so he was in another country, and he's coming home, but even his wife did not know that he's traveling because of the security reasons. No one knew. But wife noticed that the dog was behaving differently. And she was a bit curious. She did not connect this. She was a bit curious. Why is this dog behaving differently today? And when the husband arrived the Cambridge city, means 10 minutes before he arrives home, the dog was already at the door, waiting for him to arrive. And then she realizes, when the husband arrives, then she connects what was happening here. This dog knew, what was happening to the husband. That husband was traveling. He knew much more, much longer than last 10 minutes. One parrot, and this type of parrot called gray, African gray. These are the type of parrots. And this particular parrot has learned the language of this master or lady, and he could speak 800 words. His vocabulary had reached 800 words. He could pronounce different words, different names. So telephone rings in the house, and the parrot already starts saying, "Hello, Minto. Hello, Minto." And Minto is ringing. And parrot knew already. If Richard is ringing, parrot says, "Hello, Richard. Hello, Richard." Even if before the lady answers, the parrot knows who is ringing and what is happening there. And at many situations, if these researchers, they keep the lady in one room and parrot in another room, and lady just looking at some tree, and this the parrot is talking about tree. Lady is seeing the car, and this parrot is talking about the car. So he has connection with the consciousness of this lady also. What she's experiencing, he knows, but he knows more. Like one who is ringing, he as if can see something that is invisible that is going on. Another level he can see, and he has language to speak that. Good to know this. There is another dimension going on, and animals possibly have got this communication going on at another level beyond. They don't need the language. They got something else going on amongst themselves. That's why they can have some small insects and all can have very organized life, and there is a telepathic communication going on. But right now we are going to speak on reincarnation, and we'll come to this in little more detail, the subject of reincarnation. Let's see if I first can show you. Okay, let us touch the subject of multiple personality syndrome. Something different. Reincarnation will come very soon. In these cases, very rare. Multiple personalities are very rare. It means that one person, and in this one bodily being, there are two personalities. In the morning, there is one person, in the evening, another person. It is literally like that. And two personalities using the same body. Am I clear? What is seen is that as these personalities change, they don't remember the life of one another. They don't know what happened in the morning, because his life is a different life. One can almost say that there is one soul in the morning, another soul in the evening. You can say that way. But in the medical world, language of two personalities are spoken of. What is also seen As the personality changes, the illness of the body also changes. For example, one personality may have asthma, other personality has no asthma at all, never gets asthma. But one very interesting example here, one personality is allergic to orange, but when the personality changes, the same body is not allergic to orange. He can drink as much orange juice as he likes and no reaction. But in the other personality, one drop of orange will create a reaction. So those who know about allergies and allergens and antibodies, they don't just change in seconds. There are deep reasons why we are allergic to things. But in these cases, things change in a second. In some cases, scars appear and disappear with change of personalities. In some cases, color of eye change with change of personalities. If many things change. And one patient I had many years ago, and her husband was telling me that this wife, she changes, her personality changes all of a sudden. And when the personality changes, she puts on weight. Overnight, she has put on lots of weight and it just changes. She loses weight also. I ignored it that time. I did not know what to make of it and just ignored. But in time, when I'm understanding these multiple personality cases, then it has explanation to this. Because physically there is no explanation. How can a person suddenly be allergic and suddenly allergy disappear, suddenly put on weight, suddenly lose weight? How is that? Does that happen? No explanation. That's why mystery. But the husband who was saying this, he was an academic. He was one of the staff in the university, Cambridge. And this wife, she was a bit unusual wife. But there could be another personality using the body. It was not as frequent, but once in a week, once in a month, she used to say, suddenly she changes, and that time she is a different person. She looks different. I actually did not see her in that state. So if I was to actually see her, I might have been more curious, but you get these kind of cases. Most of the time, people might ignore it, just like I ignored it. But in these cases, they study this. They don't ignore it. They say, I want to follow this up more. So you can say there are two souls using the one body, or sometimes people might say two consciousness. But souls is a much better language here, using the body. But we are also seeing how the soul has so much control on the body that one soul deserves asthma. When that personality is there, there is asthma there. When the other personality comes, asthma disappears. Scars appear, scars disappear, just with the change of personality. Shows us the factors are in the soul that influences the body. And it literally creates the situation. Anyone has seen or read about hypnosis? Under hypnosis, you can be given some stone, simple stone, and you are told it is fire, and you will get a blister. What is given to you is a stone or flower even, an ordinary flower, but you are told it is fire, it is hot. And all that has happened, you hear it, that it is hot. Your suggestion is deeper, and you actually get a blister. The mind has such influence on the body, and good to notice this phenomena. In these cases, it is not coming from hypnosis, It is coming from the shift of consciousness. Has anyone heard this name, Ian Stevenson? Ian Stevenson was a psychiatrist. May I ask how many heard the name of Ian Stevenson? Raise your hands. Yes, okay, yeah, thank you. So he was a psychiatrist in Virginia and connected with the University of Virginia. In 1960s, one mother brought a son, 4-year-old, and this boy was talking about another life. So Ian Stevenson, young Ian Stevenson, tried to study this boy. And he was talking about another life, sure. He tried to get as much information from him as possible. But based on this information, he was able to locate the family where that person had died. He studied that other person, post-mortem examination, he studied it in detail. And he found that this boy was talking about facts, more than 40 facts matched with the real life situation. For example, this boy would tell, I used to live on such and such a street, my wife's name was this, and my dog was Bruno, and I did this, or I used to do such job, but last year I used to play golf. I met with an accident 2 years ago. Various things he told. My car was of this make and this color. He used to tell these things. He found that more than 40 facts he was talking about matched with the reality. And that family had not been in that part of America. It was in the same country. He published this case in the Psychiatry Journal of America. He got lots of interest. People wanted to know more. He got grants to study this more. And more he published, more grants he got. So in time, he was able to have proper department within the university. And he had enough funds now to study this properly with parapsychologists in different countries. And so he was able to study these cases in all 5 continents. And the department within the university is called Division for Personality Studies. May I ask, is it possible at this time to turn that off? It is pretty cold outside. Yeah, okay, yeah. So the Division for Personality Studies, that department is called. And so with this the department, they have got now more than 24,000 cases. And these are good cases. And they are just cases of children who remember another life. This is all. And he has published many books. This is one book, Children Who Remember Previous Lives. But he has written many books, and he has got a team, also people in Canada. There are people here working, and when you go into his books and websites, you will hear more about this. I might encourage you to look at his websites, and it sort of shows some links to videos of children who remember another life. You will see these videos. And based on this, there are very interesting patterns. It is impossible by reading his books not to understand the phenomena of reincarnation. It is impossible because things are so obvious. One good case is enough to show you that phenomena, but he has got 24,000 good cases. which means that sometimes he himself has been the first person to locate the other family. But if you see them, the way they are looking at, it's like one boy is taken to his old shop, a shop in his earlier life, and he's so disappointed with everyone. They are not maintaining the shop properly. And you can just see on his face, this person has given up on this, they don't want to look at it. This kind of things, you can see, the reactions of this person, which cannot be interpreted in the science language. Science language, they have to measure things and weigh things and tell things. So the patterns, very interesting patterns. And one pattern is the mother to be get, these are not absolute, not that every mother will get, but some mothers get dreams. And in the dream, she sees that diseased person. And in the dream, the mother is told, I am going to be born to you. In the dream, she sees that person, and that in time she discovers that she's pregnant, and in time she discovers that he remembers, in some cases, he remembers the past life, and the past life is exactly the life she had seen in the dream. So this, he calls it announcing dream, or announcing dream. That is a nice term he uses. And that most of the time, these children start talking about other life when they are 2 years of age, when they can speak. But obviously they were remembering earlier, but by the age of 2, they can speak. But by the age of 6, majority have forgotten. Because as the new impressions come, these old memories fade away, become less dominant. So according to him, possibly more children remember the past lives, but by the age of 2, they have forgotten because the new impressions have come in. And it is good that if we forget, sometimes people say it would have been good if I was to remember my past or something. No, it is good to forget. We are studying this to understand the phenomena, that's all. But we don't want to go too much into the past, remembering the past. Why? Because those who remember the past lives as an adult, they cannot establish in this life properly. They are disturbed. Like they talk of the past life in the present tense. So the typical case, boy could be telling his mother, you are not my mother. My real mother is so-and-so. She's my mother. He sees that other life in the present tense. That is my house, that is my car. I'm not from here, I'm not from this. I'll be going back to that. My mother will come to collect me. I will go back there. They say this like this, and they do not settle down in this life. And a little bit of a frustration to the people around because they want to help him, they want to be nice to him, and he can't go back to that other life anymore, but it creates a frustration. One girl in Lebanon, she was married and she had a brain tumor. She got operated in America for the brain tumor, and she died in USA. But reborn again in Lebanon. In the second life, she's in Lebanon, and so she remembers the earlier life. She knows who she was in the earlier life, and she remembers what happened and how she died. She tells that story. but she still says, so and so is my husband. You know, okay, when she was telling when she was 2 years of age, 5 years of age, she was talking like this. It was nice to get that information. But now she is 30 years of age. She doesn't want to get married. She says, no, he is my husband. I don't want to go marry anyone else. She would ring him. Now that other person is already married again now. They got a different life. And it is a different generation also. And now she is 30, he is possibly 70 or 80, different generation. But she doesn't want to get married. She keeps ringing him when everyone is telling her, no, now it is a different life for you. She can't. They cannot settle down in this life if they remember the other life. So it is good for people to forget the past. But most interesting thing, if you have any questions on this subject, feel free to ask. You know, anyone has got cases of people remembering the past life? You know anyone? I'm interested to know. But if you got any questions on this, we said they have got 24,000 cases, but they don't have a single case where the person says he was in an animal body in the earlier life. Not a single one. They all speak about this human life. Either they are in male, female, that is possible, but human. Or another thing that is seen, they can cross the boundaries. Means they can be in one country, next country, birth can be in completely different country, in a different continent altogether. They can cross the gender, they can go into different family, they can go into different religion, different caste, different race, anything is possible. But, what's the but? The chances of being reborn in the same community are higher, much, much higher. You know, in theory, these are cases. You know, some cases are born, they can be in completely different continent and different place. There are cases of this kind. But large majority are born in the same community. To be reborn in the same family is very common. You know, so person dies and he may be reborn as a grand nephew, grandson, great grandson. It's something of this kind is possible. To be within the larger family is common. So far, so good. Any comments? Anything to say? Yeah.
Brother, I wanted to ask or maybe clarify that what are the reasons that the body is born in the same family and same community? I think that, I'm not sure, but I think that, is it like the people remember them so much, or they cry, or like they grieve after they lost their loved ones? Is it something like that? Thank you.
Yeah. At this stage, we don't know. You know, there can be different speculation, but just an observation. But great to know, because it is like a very interesting phenomena that there is a reincarnation. It also means there is a invisible entity that continues, that remembers the other life, and based on that, there are tendencies. That it's coming from science, that is quite fascinating. But I'm going to show a video now, and this video is going to show that injury in one life can be seen into another life. You know, but first I will show you one more slide. So here was one boy who lost his fingers in an accident. He died. No one took a photograph of his hand. But a child was born in the neighboring village, and he's born without the fingers. Exactly the same fingers are missing. And he remembers. These are the cases where the child remembers how he lost the fingers in another life, another body, another village. Another case here, this man was hit on the head and died again. And when he died, there was an injury on the head. Now child is born, and now he's an adult and has got a scar, born with a scar on the head, exactly the same area, and remembers how he died in the earlier life, remembers who he was in the earlier life. Similar case with a toe, some ingrowing toenail, some problem ulcer in the toe, but in this case, it continues. One policeman in Chicago, he was chasing some gangsters, but they shot him and he died. He died because of the gang. And the child, one girl is born in Chicago. She remembers the life of the policeman, talks about that life, so that remembers the details about that life. But this girl has got a hole in the heart and had to be operated on the heart, exactly the place where the bullet passed through in the earlier life. But you will see many interesting cases. We are going to see the video, and video will show us, help us see this. Yeah. Yeah. So is it a accidental death or natural death? 45% of the cases of Ian Stevenson are accidental death. 45%. Means an accident, injury, or can be suicide or murder. But 55% remaining cases are natural death. But we'll see the video and let us see what we see in the video.
Professor Stevenson has studied hundreds of birthmarks and birth defects in children who claim previous lives.
I'm particularly interested in a collection we have about 15 cases where there are two birthmarks corresponding to bullet wounds of entry and exit. And forensic pathologists know that nearly always if you shoot somebody, the bullet wound of entry is small and round, and the bullet wound of exit is large and irregular in shape. And that's the way our birthmarks, in about half of these cases, they correspond exactly that way.
This boy was born without a right ear, but with memories of the life of a man who was shot in the head.
He remembered the previous life of a peasant farmer, this was in Turkey, who went to sleep at the end of the day in a pasture, and a neighbor came along hunting rabbits, and in the twilight mistook this sleeping peasant for a rabbit and shot him with a shotgun at point-blank range. We were able to go to the government hospital where the wounded man had been taken, and there we found a report showing that he died about 10 days later of hemorrhage in the brain. And this boy had memories of this man's life and his death.
The skull of a Turkish miller killed by a blow to the back of the head with a flour shovel. This picture is from the official post-mortem report. Later, a child claimed to remember the miller's life. The boy had a misshapen skull. Violent death occurs frequently in Stevenson's best cases. He speculates that the trauma of such a death may cause it to be remembered. This Burmese man recalled a previous life as a notorious bandit who was captured and executed for murder.
The hanging was bungled, so that he had to be hanged twice. And the subject, who had the memories of this brigand, was born with a almost absent lower jaw. His mandible was exceedingly small, and his mouth was very narrow and tight, so that he really can only take liquid food, and he can't open his mouth. But birth defects of the kinds that we have in these cases are uncommon, and they're not the sort that you find in the textbooks of birth defects, the monographs, with rare exceptions. A few of them are, but most of them are not.
In a village in northern India in the 1970s, a small boy lost the fingers of his right hand in a fodder chopping machine. Later, the child died, but in a neighboring village, a boy was born who claimed memories of the dead child's life. There was other evidence too. Lekpal's case was investigated by Dr. Stevenson and the Indian parapsychologist Dr. Satvant Pasricha.
अच्छा लेखपाल, पहले जन्म की बातें याद है तुम्हें?
यहाँ पैदा हुई, थोड़े कुछ बाद जब छोटे छोटे थे तब थोड़ा याद करो करते थे, फिर इलाज चलते रहो। जैसे पिताजी ने मों को ऐसे शराब गांजा पियो करते थे, उनने ऐसी मशीन फिराई दी, तो हाथ वो कटियो, हम तो वहीं खड़े रह गए, उंगलियां पांचों उनके सामने गिरी जान।
So some cases, as we said, when you go do your own research, you will see more interesting cases. Any other comments, questions? Are you finding it interesting? Yes? Yeah.
So I have a friend, he's the descendant of the last Byzantine king, Constantino Palaiologos. He had a brother, his brother was tortured and by the Turkish, and now everyone in his family has the same scars as the brother of the king. Is that similar, or is that a
different phenomena?
Oh.
Don't know exactly, but can find out more, but not the same. Yeah.
I have just a small question. Those people, when they die from the accident, so do they find out how long it took for them, because their mother was not ready yet? No, the fetus was not ready. They die from the accident. So they still, when they are born, so they take a while to get another body. Do they find anything about this? How long took for them to be born again after the?
Right. What is the time difference?
Yeah, the
between
time difference.
Death and the birth.
Yeah.
In some cases, there is a gap of even 10 years, as much as that. But large majority of the cases, it is within months, which means the mother is already pregnant and person is leaving the body here. So that kind of 5 months, 6 months, less than a year, that is common. But in some cases, there is a bigger gap. And Ian Stevenson feels that there may be another birth in between, which he doesn't remember. but remembers the birth prior. That is one explanation for him. But there are, in some cases, there are gaps. I'll explain what we saw just now. Let us try to explain this, how injury from one life can go into another life. So here we are seeing the body. Let me draw it again. Here is a person who dies, and now is born as a child, a completely different body. So how come injury from in this life, losing finger, how can that go into another body altogether? And that other body can be in another family, another race, completely different. They don't know each other. How can this injury go to another life? The only common factor is the soul. And what happens at the last moment, final moment, there is something called impression. It is not sanskara, something different. Impression. For example, right now, if you realize that your car key is not with you, it is on your mind. My car key is not with me. I lost my car key. Agree? It will not be just car key gone. It will be on your mind. You are sort of thinking of that. My car key is lost. This is called impression, last impression. So if you were to lose your finger, and it is important for you not to lose finger, so it is on your mind. I lost a finger. And that impression that is created, I lost a finger, that impression stays with the soul, even if he dies. He dies with that impression. I have lost finger. And he's born with that impression. I have lost finger. And that impression influences the baby in the womb. And he actually loses the finger. We saw earlier, how in multiple personalities, the soul creates the allergies, creates asthma, creates scars also. And what change of personality creates scars. So here we are seeing the same phenomena. The person, what is happening in the soul influences the body. If at the level of the soul, it is the last impression that matters, not during lifetime. Last impression, he says, I got an injury on my head. And that impression is, I got an injury on the head. He dies with that impression, he is reborn with that impression. That impression is still with him. And it creates the reality in the next life. Understand? Like that explains how all these, someone was hanged. In this life, it appears as if he was hanged in this life. Look at his neck, look at his chin. It appears there is an impression there. Because last impression is, my neck is constricted. I lost my jaw. That is the impression. And that impression creates the reality in a completely different body. Now let us see based upon what we have seen so far, let us see how this will affect our social life. Let us say in this life, person has got no injury, everything is going really well, but he just got little attachment to this bag. And what is in this bag? Money. So every day before going to bed, he opens his bag, counts his money, and he's very happy. He's getting good sleep. Every night, very good sleep. Just before going to bed, he counts his money and happy. And in time, money is increasing, so happiness is increasing. And the soul is also there. What will be the last impression? If he is to die, what will be his last impression? Yes. Any other? What will be the last impression? Can't lose the money. Last impression is that I lost my money. It is, understand, no? Because last impression means you are going that way. And you say, my bag, you can't, you can't go to that bag anymore. Just last one look at my dollars. No, you can't. Someone else will be fighting for that bag now. You got no say. The reality is that last impression is I lost my money. I'm poor. I worked all my life, collected all this money, and I'm empty. This is very relevant. Last impression is I'm empty. Last impression is I lost my money. Last impression is I'm poor. And with that impression, he dies. With that impression, he is born. I'm poor. And that impression will influence your next reality. Because these psychic impressions have their say. They are absolute. Government, people, no one can do anything in front of this psychic impression. They create a reality there where you create a body where there is a situation where there is poverty, there is problems. I have some very good examples of this. Giving you one example. One person is a highly qualified person, very good parents, family is good, he has got very good contacts, and his advice, many other people have made their lives, but he whole life is struggling with basic survival, all his life, just managing, some problems, and by looking at this, you have to accept that there is no logic there. Something is happening beyond anyone's hands. Understand, no? If the psychic impressions are there, they will influence like this. So in this case, money. Let me give you another example. Do you like some stories like this? Our sister in Finland, her name is Gita. And she's our teacher also in Finland. And she has 3 other sisters, 3 or 4 sisters, and rich father. But father was in the hospital, was some tumor, and he knew he's going to leave the body sometime soon. So he called all the sisters, daughters, and lawyer, and he said, whilst I'm still here, let me transfer all my money to you and whatever property. And they are all very casual about this. Sure, so he got the lawyers, he transferred all his property, gold, money to these 4 daughters. And they were happy, he was happy, lawyer was happy, they went home. After 1 week, he called them all back. Do you know why? He called all the daughters back. He said, I don't like this feeling, that I'm empty. I don't have anything. I don't like this feeling. So bring it all back. Sort it out after I leave the body. But right now I want it all back. And they actually literally brought it all back, because they wanted him to be happy. What does this tell you? That we were talking earlier about the shadows and my image of myself. So here is person, his deep, his identity is based on, this is my land, this is my house, this is my money, this is me. His identity is based on this. And now he wakes up in the morning, he says, I lost everything. And I am not without, I'm without gold, I'm without money, this is not my house. Internally, he feels poor, he feels empty, he feels he has lost something. So they all brought him back, but brought it all back to him. 6 weeks later, he died. What will happen at that time? He will get that impression again. Because at that time, you can't bring it all back. No, the reality is that it stays behind and you go, and that impression, I'm poor, I have lost everything, I'm empty, those impressions will come. And those impressions will influence the future. Understand? No? Now, this was a case with physical wealth. Someone else may have attachment to children or to any, people, husband, wherever, the human beings, different human beings, their attachment. These are my. What will be the last impression? If you got bondage with this, your last impression is I lost. It is not a minute before, maybe fear of losing, but last impression is I'm without my children. I'm without my husband. I'm without all these wonderful people. I'm without them. Last impression is I lose. And I am without children, let us say. This impression goes with the person. And those impressions will create a reality, which means there will be a problem in healthy relationship with children. That it is sometimes difficult in having children, and even if children are there, they want to run away. There are problems in relationship because the mind invites a situation of loss. Wherever, like in what is happening in Vancouver? What's the mindset of Vancouver? Attachment to everything. Not just to dollars and people, position, possessions, place, party. Agree? And as the attachments increase, because that is the culture of the world, and when there are opportunities, you go into that direction more. So as we are creating these attachments in this world with different things, deeper inside, you are going in the wrong direction. And last moment, impressions will be on the negative side. I lost this, I lost my position, and I was so good, as if it is all my eternal claim. People they are going to be with me forever. This is, we believe, this land will be with me forever. That position will be with me forever. Those skills will be with me forever. Understand? No? Some skills. You can be good at singing, dancing, and some you feel as if it is going to be with me forever. And that means you are out of this theater. Theater is not yours. You remain that soul. And if you are claiming it, you are creating a negative impression. I am without this. And that these psychic impressions influence the future reality. Now, what is the answer to this riddle? Is there any hope to create positive impressions? What is the hope? Positive impression, we were underlining this, to have the attitude that I am a guest in this world. So here is the world. Below this line is the world. And person has an attitude, I am a guest in this world. and I have an exit, and I'm lucky. Underline this word, lucky, because you got this great gift of this moment and next moment and this moment, this performance. It is not my world. Just like I'm a guest in this place. Tomorrow I got a already return ticket. It is in my hand, return ticket. So I'm naturally not going to collect things because I don't go in my flight. I'm thinking, who can take this? This kind of a attitude goes in this. In the same way, here we have got a return journey. You may not have received a ticket in your hand, but there is a return journey. Agree? If someone is fully aware of this, he's very lucky. And what happens is he sees himself as an invisible guest. And this physical world, not one atom here is mine. Not one atom. Right now I'm using this, but it is not mine. I'm using this, it is not mine. We have to get that right, absolutely right. Not just some 5 minutes here and 5 minutes here. If this is the truth, then we have to drum it in. The invisible guest is temporarily associated with this world. It is great, but not one atom is mine, no one else. I can't own anyone. Can I own anyone else? There may be children may be born there also, but they are not mine. The body itself is not mine. How can someone else be mine? This is the attitude of this invisible guest. And deep inside, he knows that he can lose nothing. He got nothing to lose. During the life, he feels, I got nothing to lose. If one atom doesn't belong to you, and I got no one to lose. He's very happy, just like we are enjoying the company right now. But I know I'm going to be going alone, and I'm not going to lose anyone. Because if I start saying this wasn't mine, I really like the company, I need to cling, then I will feel I'm losing. But we are travelers and we travel alone. And we got to exit. If we just bring this, it is a common sense truth, but that has to become natural. If someone has this attitude inside, he's lucky in this life, lucky in the future, because the last impression will be, he is lucky. That is the feeling. He feels he's lucky. He got nothing to lose. Not one atom to lose, no one to lose. He's lucky. And it's internally the feeling of fullness, feeling of being complete. These are the feelings that come. Last impression. The yogi, one who is, this itself is good enough. Just having this awareness, invisible guest. That is my truth. Everything is extra. Just a bit like a monopoly. You are playing monopoly game. How is this? But that's a game. You don't say this is all mine, then you will go into depression. But monopoly game. This is just a monopoly game going on. You are involved in many things. All the time be aware your world is different. Here, not one atom belongs to you. Then you will be lucky in the present, lucky in the future. That is a big secret. But yogi is the one who knows more than just being a guest. He knows of the world beyond, knows the Father, knows the bigger reality beyond. I'm a guest here, but I belong someone behind here. And as a result, his final impressions during life and at the time of death, feelings are that his world is full, his world is beautiful, Why beautiful? Because not because physical world is beautiful, not because some ocean is nice or the mountain grouse is nice. Grouse? Not because of that, but because the reality beyond is beautiful. That is the yogi position. He knows his world beyond that he has discovered. He feels his world is complete. He got everything. He knows everyone is perfect. Mind is perfect. World is perfect. This is perfection. He knows the world is of love. Everyone is lovely, loving, and worthy of love. And his world is full of love. That's what he feels. Not because of the physical world. At the physical world, there may be wars going on, but he knows the reality beyond. And reality beyond is a region of love. He feels he's lucky, very lucky. And he knows about the world of immortality. He knows of divine truth of everyone. That's what he understands. He feels this life alokik, the life beyond, is a continuous celebration. The universe is positive. He discovers all this. Things are positive. Everyone is naturally, it is like anger is also an emotion, and peace is also an emotion. But natural state of everyone is peace. Understand, no? Only under provocation there will be anger, but natural state is peace. And so he discovers that the universe is positive. And seen from that perspective, everything is good and positive, and it is a world of celebration. He knows that because the things are positive and things are good, he knows he received the best, not the second best. Positive, agreed, but he got a best father, best home, best family, best mind. Internally he feels he got a best. And all of this is forever. This is the experience he has during lifetime. And this is what he discovered. Yogi means that. You are discovering, you are not judging based on the story. Story is changing. It is what is there today. You got a bag full dollars and suddenly it is all gone. And it can happen during lifetime, but it is changing, it is going. But he knows of the reality beyond. And that's why he knows things are positive. He's lucky. He got the best. He got nothing to complain. And during lifetime, many things come and change, but he has nothing to complain because it was not mine in the first place. Even the body was not mine in the first place. So he got nothing to complain. That is the impression he will be carrying at the moment of death. If during lifetime, this is what he's experiencing, being lucky and best and happy, and everyone is lovely. This is the impression with which he dies. What will be his future? What will be the future? Yeah, this is what will create the future. These impressions will create a future where there is fullness and there is perfection and there is beauty and there is love and you find yourself lucky, life of celebration and positive, the best. This is the impression you create. If you imbibe this, live this life in deeper, and so under provocation, don't move out of this, then these impressions will continue with you for more than one life. It is not just one life you are positive and lucky, but let the impressions be so deep that alokik impression. And yogi means that. Yogi is, it is bringing spirituality at a practical level. Our present day system, whether the governments and science, they ignore this phenomena of impressions that are created. And we were with one consulate, but he's in the ambassador, and he was saying the problems that the governments face with homeless. You try to solve it, but they come back. Some of the streets that homeless, they want to come back again. You can't change it that easily. There are deeper impressions, psychic impressions. They are born with that. You try to solve it, those psychic impressions, bring that life back to them. You can't force it. And we may bring technology, we may bring wealth, we may bring best experts here, but if the psychic impressions are telling them they are going to have a different life, that is what will happen. Understand? No? And we need a good method to address this. It is not just few people are vulnerable to psychic impression. This is a story with each and everyone. Last moment matters. Even in hospitals, it must be in this country also. If a patient is very serious, you invite a priest. Priest comes, tells him to remember God. Why? Why does the priest tell it? Because priest knows that last thoughts matter. What he should be thinking about something higher. At this time, don't think about your money. Don't think about anything that will help him in the future journey. They know this. Last thought matters. People know this. Religions know this. But last thought cannot be changed by the priest. Understand, no? Last thought will be based upon where your life is. What has been important to you during your lifetime. That is where your last thought will. Priest is telling you, remember God, remember God. But last thought he will say, where is my bank check, bank card and a credit card? Where is my bank account? Where is my food? Wherever, panipuri, where is my panipuri? Whatever is important to you, that is what you'll remember last second. And so if during lifetime you have changed, then you can be lucky forever. Then we can apply the magic in our life in a proper way. Thank you. Earlier I was mentioning about near-death experiences, and researcher, one who studies near-death experiences, his name cardiologist, his name is Raymond Moody. And if you want to go into website, he has written many books on this also. Dr. Raymond Moody. And I might also suggest you visit website of Ian Stevenson also, just to get a little better feel of the subject.
Do we have time for a couple of questions on the online? There were some questions. Yeah.
Easy questions.
Okay, Shanti. The question is, people who are suffering from cancer or any other incurable disease and opt for a medical help to die, what happens to them in the next journey?
One is the body having an illness, and sometimes I feel some a sudden death opposed to a prolonged death. And prolonged death, maybe they are better off compared to sudden death, because they get chance to process the life and what are the bondages. They get a little signal, as opposed to sudden death, you are into the all kinds of bondages and claiming things, and suddenly you got this examination that comes, you are not prepared, and you have not got chance to let go properly. So some situations of this kind, that gives the person, that gives the soul a chance to process and let go. The wisest thing, that is where the spiritual university comes in. We learn through pain. Most people learn through pain. Our aim is to learn through wisdom. Or a little signal has come through life. Some signal of pain has come. But now we have to learn through wisdom and become completely free from any bondage in the story. No claim of any kind here. We are an invisible guest. Drum this in fully, that under any provocation you don't feel slightest feeling of loss or disappointment. You're lucky, you're forever lucky, and you're forever healthy, because the soul is healthy and you're forever, you got the best. The reality at that level is like that. First, find out more about this, that reality beyond, and yogi life is that life. Even though we may know it, understand it even, but we still have to undo our old bondages here. That's why we need the time, and we shouldn't wait for any more pain. We should do this before pain. Mhm.
How do I know that I am settling my karmic account, and what's the right way and what's a method to settle the karmic account?
Sure. What we mentioned in the last part, coming to those experience of seeing the invisible guest, and with that method becoming free from the old impressions, that is settling the account. Because more you are coming into that space, account is created just at this level, our claim. We are temporarily guests here, and we are claiming things constantly. Imagine you are a guest, someone is a guest in your house for 5 minutes. And whilst going, he is taking a chair from your house. What will you call him? What will you call him? Robber? Robber is stealing. So you might say, no, it is my chair. If you're still insisting this is my chair, you might call a police. Agree? Because he is putting a claim on something that doesn't belong to him. He's creating an account. Anyone, we have all our guests here. Anyone is claiming things, this is my chair, my this. We all are guests on this planet. And if we are guests on this planet, we don't own one atom from this planet. That is the truth. If you are putting a claim, there's no difference between one person taking the chair from your house. You call him a thief, and someone else saying that this is mine, and this is mine, this person is mine. He's breaking the law. And there are penalties. Nature wants us to be 100% free. It is just nature's law. And then you got, when you are a guest and behaves like a guest, everyone wants to honor you. They won't inform the police. They want to give you the best. Agree? Any guest, any place, people want to offer you the best. They want to, like, we have come here. They want to show me this and some place, and that is a natural instinct. Just people want to offer the best to a guest. And so here, nature wants to offer you the best, but remain the vulnerable guest. The moment you start claiming, you invite other forces. The honor disappears and penalties come.
Om Shanti. Actually, there was a question on the Zoom a bit early before. Maybe we can read that. Is it also connected to the mental illness or suffering? You were talking about the last impression that's carrying forward. Is that a part of it too? And how does it affect the present life, and how do you get out of it?
What we saw today is we have to start the process. It is an answer to lots of our situation. You in every situation, whether it's mental health, physical health, we said earlier, in that space, even for 1 minute, you are playing with it. You are also reminding this invisible guest is healthy. Understand, no? You are creating the impression of health. Just for 1 minute, play with this. That you are full, you are perfect, you are complete, but you are also healthy. Understand, no? Soul is saying, this is not just a visualization. This is not just positive thinking. When you are saying, when the soul is saying, I'm healthy, you are just seeing the truth. At a physical level, it is a reflection. You will get health at a physical level also in this life. Some health problems may be there. Start with this, that soul is healthy. Body may have some problems, but at a true level, you are healthy. And at a body level also, you will find its reflection. But already we are talking about mental health. If someone feels he's lucky and he's feeling that life is of love, what more do you want? Mental health. This is a cure. No? If a person is experiencing love in more situations and happiness in more situations and feel himself lucky in all situations, that is very advanced mental health, positive health. But it will also cure, if even for 1 minute one introduces this thinking, it will cure the old attitudes.
Om Shanti. There's a question. It's just bothering me when you're talking about reincarnation and all that. I'm just wondering, is there anybody can postpone their death for a little while? Because we heard stories about, oh, this person was dead, and while they were taking him to funeral home, he was alive, or he seen something, and he tells stories. So is that true that a person can postpone their death for a little bit? Or he can come back and not dead?
Everyone is trying to postpone their death. And we have been managing it pretty well. There is lots of success in this, postponing death, but, there is not a huge benefit just by postponing it, but there's a bigger benefit in healing the soul. Postponing is okay, but if we use that time to heal the soul, bring about this positive change, then there is progress, because the present and the future will be higher. But if someone postpones the death and still going downward, just postpone the death. Yeah, find that again, create more bondage.
Maybe I'm just wondering, maybe, when these people, they're saying they were dead and now they're alive, you think their karmic accounts are not clear yet? Maybe that is the reason they fool the death, or I just want to understand that part.
Yeah. It is, these are rare cases, rare situations. It's more like a phenomena,
Because, this is my true story. That's why I was wondering, is that like there was a reason I almost died in India, right? 3 years ago. And I didn't know about Shiv Baba or Raj Yoga or anything. So I'm always wondering now, maybe that was the reason for me to come back, because I needed some answers, questions answered, and which Raj Yoga answered me. And I am like very satisfied with the answers that I got, that I didn't get it from Bhakti Marg, but I got it from Raj Yoga, from Shiv Baba. So that's why I'm asking, is that was the reason that I came back?
At least it is good to see it that way, that this is like a gift,
Mm-hmm.
for a positive change. To see it that way is right.
Yes.
But at a larger
Thank you,
level,
brother.
it's just a phenomenon.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Good evening, Prashant.
Hi.
This is Ron from Edmonton.
Hi, Ron.
How are you?
Good.
Wonderful evening. You integrated the mysterious and you wound up in a very pure spiritual place with the guest analogy. It was really wonderful. And it reminded me actually of the first time I met you about 33 years ago in London. I had just arrived from Canada. And on the plane, I think I got some sort of code. And they said when I arrived, not to worry, there's a doctor in the front room. You can chat to him and he can help you. And that was in, I think, the Shanti Bhavan is what they call it, right? And so I went in and I was looking for you, couldn't find you. You were under the covers, about 10 blankets, and you were worse than I was. But anyway, so I couldn't rely on the doctor that day, but we did have some wonderful walks and chats. And for many, many years, it's been always a pleasure to call you a brother and friend. So thank you for a very wonderful evening.
Pleasure. Nice seeing you.
Thank you so much, brother. You have opened my eyes. It's a complete awakening in such a short session. Thank you. Thank you so much. Om Shanti.
It was wonderful to see Brother Ron. And we want to welcome you and thank you so much for sharing your experiences with Brother Prashant. Well, I would like to share some announcement before we conclude with meditation. So we have to experience what it is to be an invisible guest. So first of all, for those who would like to explore this subject of a yogi life and yogi lifestyle, we have a book that is available. It's $15, In Search of Truth, by this is the book, In Search of Truth. The second announcement is that if you would like to join any courses, workshops, or programs organized by this center, And in Vancouver, you can go to Vancouver at brahmakumaris.ca. Vancouver at brahmakumaris.ca. And I would like to thank you so much, Brother Prashant, for these insights that there is always an exit, that we are not stuck. And for those who have asked about terminal disease, I think that you share my feelings that there is no such a thing as terminal disease, that every disease is curable, but not every man. The disease is curable. And this is a great hope for all of us. And we still need to undo our bondages of this world, of this life, of this time to become free. And we need to be free from our past impressions because nature wants us to be 100% free and take the time to heal the soul. This is the invitation for all of us to take the time to heal the soul. Thank you from the heart.
It's a pleasure.
So we'll have a meditation to close the session.
Mhm. And is there a commentary or?
Yeah, yes.
Can you do a commentary? Yeah, that would be great.
Sure.
Yes.
And what sort of time?
10 minutes?
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
Nice opportunity for us to go for the highest experience in this short time, 5-10 minutes. Let us go for the highest. Just means we use our full concentration. Certainly, during these 10 minutes, we don't need to think about people, dollars, your bag. That is not a priority for these 10 minutes. Put a full stop to these thoughts is to remind that everything that happened in the past was a story. And we are free to keep the eyes open or closed. Try both, but focus is a priority. And very first second, we come to that expanse of light. We see that world in an image of a sky. World of complete silence. we see this world in color. This time we see it in a gentle red color. This is the home of light, home of complete silence, home of complete stillness. Thank you. Now we will be doing the meditation in two phases. This was just a momentum. But now we'll create another 5 minutes and few steps. One thing we know, this just knowledge, our reminder of this reality of the soul, and that we are here temporary, that itself is a preparation for meditation. That's the first step. Second step for us, we are using our attention. That is a function we have. We can direct our attention where we choose. Ordinarily, this attention is all the time in the story, this physical world. During these minutes, our aim is to direct this attention to beyond, to the world beyond, to that alaukic world, spiritual world. Because that is where the bigger picture is, that supports the soul. Soul belongs there. Ordinarily, there is blackout. That dimension is not seen at all. So this minute, our aim is directing our attention to that supreme home. Just seeing that region of sky. But this is the world beyond that physical sky, beyond the story. Immersing ourselves in the light of that world. Step 3 is engagement. We have seen it, but now we are there. Engagement is that. We are in that world. We are aware of the family of living stars here. This is the home of the supreme friend and the father. All in the image of living stars. All immortal, all divine, auspicious, clean. All loving and lovely. Childlike and godlike. Step 4, this environment, spiritual environment, helps the soul to become conscious. The true self become conscious. And one who is conscious, for him, it is normal to be incorporeal. This moment, he finds it is normal to be like a tiny point, like a star. Normal to be immortal. Normal not to need anything from the story. Normal to be independent from the story. Normal to belong to God. Normal to be loved by God. Normal to belong to that supreme sky. That we have done is directed our attention here. As we continue on our journey in the sky and on earth, the true self remains conscious. We see the perspective of the true self.